started there when I was 17. I was just sweeping the floor. Continued to stay working there, went to school to become a fireman.
When do you have time to sleep?
It's challenging. Sometimes we can sleep at the firehouse.
Do you do the firefighter thing and the power sports store stuff because you need the money, or you just like doing both, or what?
I don't need the money anymore.
Are you out there fighting fires on a daily basis, or what are you doing?
So it's not daily. The schedule for most fire departments in South Florida is 24 hours on, 48 hours off. And the beauty to that is...
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast where today we have a real treat for you guys. Today's guest is a 19-year power sport veteran who's worked his way up from porter at 17 years old to the general manager of Broward Motorsports, who's a real, honestly, Broward Motorsports in Southwest Florida is huge. They might be one of the largest, most prominent dealerships in all of South Florida, or maybe all of Florida. But he doesn't just run dealerships. He also serves his community as a Broward County firefighter and paramedic lieutenant. He's a leader, a family man, and someone who has built everything through discipline, humility, and hustle. Please welcome Anthony Bruno. Thanks for coming on and coming down. So you've been in the power sport business for 17 years.
Yes.
And you're a firefighter.
Yes, it's quite a juggle.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm burning both ends of the candle most of the time.
Yeah, when do you have time to sleep?
It's challenging. Sometimes we can sleep at the firehouse, but
are you full-time at both?
Yeah, full-time at both.
And you got a kid.
And I got a kid.
You're like Superman.
Yeah.
You're like Clark Kent at the power sports store.
I have a very supportive family, and fortunately a wife that doesn't really have to work, so
yeah,
she could stay home and help me out with the baby.
So do you do the firefighter thing and the power sports store stuff because you need the money, or you just like doing both, or what?
I don't need the money anymore, and my life was really, it started with the power sports. I started with that job in high school, didn't know, where it was going to go, what it was going to take me. Like, my family, they stayed on top of, hey, go to school, you need to go to college, get a good career. And the economy was very rough, 2007, 2008, 2009.
Yep.
And I didn't see that job being something that I was going to do my entire life. Like, you said, I started there when I was 17. I was just sweeping the floor. But continued to stay working there, went to school to become a fireman, started to slowly progress through the company. I took a small amount of time off to focus on the fire department. It was less than a year. Got through my probation, went back to work there, and I've been doing both ever since.
So you've been doing both for how long?
The fire department, I've been there 15 years this month, and Broward Motorsports, I started there 19 years ago.
And you're now the GM?
Yes, I'm GM and managing partner for
Wow.
Broward Motorsports.
Managing partner too?
Yeah, and a lieutenant for Broward Sheriff's Office Fire Rescue.
So, okay, I know what you do as a GM, but let's talk about, what do you do? Are you out there fighting fires on a daily basis, or what are you doing?
So it's not daily. The schedule for most fire departments in South Florida is 24 hours on, 48 hours off.
Yeah.
And the beauty to that is we can do shift exchanges. So, I do a lot of exchanges with people where they'll work for me in the morning, and I might work for them, months down the road in the afternoon, so that I can focus on the dealerships throughout the day and during the week, and then at nights I'll go into the fire department.
So when do you sleep?
All I need is about 5 or 6 hours, because I'm a 4:30, 5 a.m. guy every day.
Fair enough. Yeah,
So.
Me too. So the firefighting part. So like a lieutenant in the fire department. What does that look
So
like?
the way it's structured, you get hired. In South Florida, it varies throughout the country, but in South Florida, you start as a probationary firefighter. After a year, you're on the job, you become a regular fireman, and then you can progress through the ranks to becoming a driver, which a driver engineer just drives the fire truck, and then a lieutenant who manages one apparatus, one vehicle. And it could be on a rescue, an ambulance, or it could be on a fire truck, could be on a ladder truck. And then you can move up, the career ranks to a captain who oversees a station, a battalion chief who oversees a battalion, which is multiple stations, and then it goes so on and so forth. Division chief,
So
assistant chief.
do you have a career goal in the firefighting
No, so
world?
I thought originally I was going to want to progress through my career, but as Broward Motorsports has grown, as I've grown with the company, I've been a lieutenant now for 10 years, and that is the spot that I am retiring at. Okay. I'm in a great spot. I work in Hollandale. I'm on a fire truck. I'm with a great team. we have a lot of fun when I go to work, and that's primarily the reason that I stay there. It's because it's such a distraction from the hustle of retail sales and dealership life and long hours, and it's a big distraction from that. And I can go there, and you know, it sounds crazy because you're going into fires, you're helping people, you're saving lives, you're doing the whole thing. It's 911 emergency, but it's a different culture, it's a different family there, and we joke around a lot, we cook, we work out, we do all the things.
So here's the deal, guys. If you guys buy a motorcycle from Broward Motorsports and you get into an accident, Anthony here is going to come save you too.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's full circle.
It's full circle.
Full service at Broward Motorsports, guys. Anthony Bruno's got your back.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So from what I've heard about, we're going to talk about firefighters because I don't normally talk to firefighters every day.
Okay.
So from the firefighter point of view, the firehouse, I think of it's just the frat house, or the boys are hanging out until a fire breaks out. Or you guys have some sort of emergency.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that?
It's
where you're just hanging
exactly
out with the boys?
like that, but you can't, drink or
Yeah.
be reckless or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, your days are structured like you go in, check out all your equipment, check out your truck, make sure everything's operational. We get some training and stuff done through the day. Whatever tasks need to be done around the station, make sure everything's operational.
Yeah.
There's usually public events and stuff that are going on throughout the city. You have to, do maintenance and whatnot of different fire hydrants. And when there's not all of that, when all of that is done, or there's not much to do on the weekends, then yeah, we have downtime and we work out, we cook, and we find projects and stuff.
So being the general manager of a store, especially a high volume store like Broward,
yeah.
And a firefighter, those are both like high stress jobs, and you seem like a pretty chill dude.
I'm very chill.
So how are you so chill?
I have become chill over the years. I didn't get to where I am today because of who I was when I was 20. 20 years old, running rampant and high testosterone and tons of energy. And fortunately now I can slow down a little bit, and these career paths have been I'm so blessed, and everything. I'm very grateful for everything I have. But the fire department has taught me one thing, and the dealerships have taught me another. The fire department has taught me more of leadership and how to execute things, how to deal with stuff during an emergency, and a lot of that is relative to leadership and management within the dealerships and running a store.
I would imagine you'd have to have some pretty good leadership qualities in both, because you're literally putting out fires, and then you're putting out fires at the dealership.
Yeah.
So you're pretty good at putting out fires.
It's pretty funny. That's what everyone says. They're like, call the firefighter in, like, putting out the fires and whatnot. But
so what's going through your mind? We're gonna talk about this for a couple minutes. We'll move on to the dealership. But when you get a phone call, hey man, car on fire, building's burned down, whatever the situation is, what's going through your mind when you're heading out there?
Probably the same thing as any other officer. When you're responding to a call, you're looking at the incoming notes. How many people have called on this? What is the environment? What time of day is it? Is the building occupied? How many patients do you think we have? Is it and it's relative to what type of call you have. Is it a car fire? Is it someone calling because their kid's sick? Is it a house on fire?
Yeah.
And you're strategizing and you're changing and shifting directions as you're going to this call and thinking like, hey, what do I have to do? Where do I have to go? Even the simplest things. Where's the smartest place to park the truck?
Yeah.
For
you're not
best
driving,
access and whatnot.
You're not the engineer driving the
no,
truck.
not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, so you did that.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to do that to progress, through the ranks.
Through the ranks to lieutenant. Okay. Interesting, man. This is crazy. Crazy that you do both. I don't know how you have time, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So
and then you have a kid, like I said.
Have a kid.
And you have a kid, new dad, 1 year old.
She gets up every day at 7 a.m. So I'm if I'm not on shift, yesterday, I will make sure that I get to the gym 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I get home by 6:15, 6:30, shower and everything. She wakes up. I'm able to get up with her, make breakfast, eat with her, get the day going, and then I'll go into the dealership. And then if I'm on shift, if I was able to swing, a shift swap with someone, I'll be at the dealership till 5, 6 p.m., come home. I'm able to feed her. I'm able to hang out with her run around. bathe her, put her to bed, and then I can go into shift at night, get off at 8 a.m., come back home and do the same thing before I go into the dealership. So I am burning both ends of the candle, and
Yeah.
I am lacking a little sleep, but
Are you still married?
yeah, man, I have the best relationship. Me and my wife have an amazing relationship.
So, I don't take this the wrong way, but she probably isn't a high maintenance girl. Like needs a lot of attention.
No, she does. She definitely wants a lot of attention. She always wants, we call and we talk and text and
Yeah.
stuff all throughout the day, but
Yeah.
she understands. Like, I can't say I really have like a long-term goal. I love working. I come from a very working class family. My grandfather stopped working when he was 80 something years old, and he was on his third career.
And he probably
was
died
working
like
at
right
Publix,
after he
and
quit.
He
working,
actually
huh?
left working Publix at like 85 because
Wow.
he didn't like the new technology and having to clock in and out with a computer and stuff. So he was kind
Yeah.
of done with it then. And it's I don't see myself working till I'm 85. I definitely don't need to. I'm in a good position right now, but I love working, and she knows I love work. It's part of my identity.
Yeah. Definitely is.
Yeah.
It's what you spend most of your time doing,
Yeah,
but you love it,
I love it.
which is good because then it's not really work. You're just kind of
Yeah.
having fun.
It's not really a work-life balance. Like, my work is my life, and my life is my work. And we make time to do everything that everyone else does. We always sit down and eat together if I'm not on shift, and we do things every weekend. We travel a lot, so.
So, let's switch gears and talk more about the dealership world because that's mainly what I focus on. I talk to owners and general managers all over the country, and we kind of talk about the state of whatever industry that they're in. I work with auto, RV, power sports, marine, trailer, like all those different industries. So, right now in the power sports industry, what is happening? Give us your 1 minute rundown on the state of the union here in the power sports world.
The last 5 years have been an absolute roller coaster, and
Yeah.
it's South Florida is a completely different animal than the rest of the country. And what it seems is the Sun Belt states, the lower portion of the United States, Florida, Texas, Georgia, all the lower states are doing pretty well with power sports. The market is up for us across the board, almost 10% this year over last year. And we're doing good, man. We're buying more stores and we're chugging along and
Growing.
Yeah, and we're growing, and
So
things
power
are good.
sports business is good from your point of view, and you're up 10%. Do you guys mainly focus on road, off road, marine? Like, what do you guys do?
So our dealerships combine. Our goal is to combine multiple franchises under one roof. So
Okay.
none of our stores sell only one brand, only Yamaha, only Kawasaki, only Suzuki. We try to encompass multiple brands under every single roof. And our store in Treasure Coast, Hope Sound, has the most. I think they have like 16 brands right now.
Wow.
But most of our stores carry Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Polaris, BRP. All the big brands, and we're not primarily focused on any one of them. We're focused on all of them, but dependent on the store is what really. All the stores don't sell the same things per se. So we have a location in Miami we acquired in 2023, and they're not heavily focused on motorcycles, but that's primarily what we sell there.
So out of all the manufacturers, I know you work with 16 brands. Being in the power sports industry, it's interesting because I've always thought maybe such diversification in the power sports world with how many brands you sell might hurt some dealers because there's a lot to pay attention to. Because if you look at the automotive industry, they sell one thing.
Yeah.
That's their brand when it comes to new cars anyway. And then most, RV dealers like 2-3 brands. You know?
It's different for automotive. Like, I don't think Ford. I don't know their franchise, rules with Ford, but I don't think Ford is going to allow Chevy to be under the same roof as them.
No.
But for us, they do allow it. So
you can be a Honda dealer and a, Kawasaki dealer?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I've seen a lot of just single point Honda stores, though.
Yes, and there is some Honda powerhouses, and they do very well. But Florida is so diverse with what the community wants to ride. There's diehard Kawasaki fans, there's diehard Yamaha fans, there's diehard BRP people that like, Can-Ams and whatnot, and there's diehard Polaris riders, and that's all that they'll focus on. That's all they'll ride.
Yeah.
So if you can encompass all the brands under one roof and manage them effectively, it's the best for your business.
So if you pay attention to other industries, this is how I kind of look at things. I look at other industries and I'm like, okay, automotive is trending this direction. And automotive seems to lead the pack and the other industries kind of follow with systems, processes, procedures, consolidation,
They say
buyouts.
that. They say automotive is, 10 years ahead of power sports. And in some instances, I think they are, but in most instances, I don't think that they are.
Like give me an example of where you think automotive is ahead and where you think you guys are
So
neck and neck, maybe.
automotive has become so congested where there's a focus on selling and retailing new vehicles, but they don't focus on, it doesn't seem that they focus so much on profitability on the sale of new vehicles. It's mostly in finance, and now they're really taking advantage of service and their service departments. And it seems like Rick Case, big group down here, they were a big group nationwide. They started to consolidate and shrink a little bit, but their service departments, they generate millions of dollars a month. And that's where a big focus is. It's high volume, sell cars for less, get them out the door, but get them in service and capitalize where you can in service.
Yeah.
And power sports, we try to really make money across the board. You're trying to make money on the front of the sale. You're trying to make money in finance. You're bringing them into parts. You're bringing them into service. And you're trying to keep them, in your dealership and keep that flow going. Where we are a little bit behind is really capitalizing on our service departments like automotive has. And one thing that automotive does good is a lot of their systems that they use today, a lot of the technology communicates effectively with each other. So, their main operating system communicates effectively with their finance products, communicates effectively with their credit card processing and their parts and everything, where, Lightspeed is the operating system that powers.
Love or hate them.
I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah.
I wish that they were more open to allowing a lot more technology companies to integrate with them so that their products could be easier for the consumer to use, because it sucks when you're relying upon your staff to use 17 different products that don't talk to each other. You're texting through this one, you're calling through this one, you're logging information, then you're using it. It's too much
Fragmentation.
exactly. And power sports or automotive does a really good job at consolidating all of that together to make it easier for the staff, and it's better for the consumer. They can stay in communication and stuff a lot better.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
that's where we fall behind. Service and our operating system, not the way we operate. The way we operate is amazing. So
Well, yeah, you guys have a good operation. There's a lot of
we're the largest in Florida right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys probably are, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of bad operators out there.
there's tons of bad operators out there.
They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Like, quite honestly.
The power sports industry is kind of weird too. You go to these dealer meetings and, our dealerships in South Florida are nothing like, and I'll just pick a random state, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Our dealership here is nothing in comparison to, some of these mom and pop shops. They do everything on pen and paper. They may have a tractor store that they introduce Kawasaki
That's
to.
what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
a tractor store selling
also
generators.
sells generators and
And now they're
Kawasaki's.
selling side by sides. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, you're kind of a power sports store,
But not really.
but not really. You don't know. You don't have the structure and the systems and the processes.
Yep.
I think, and that's kind of what I see most. Like that would be like the average. You guys would be the
that's
above
definitely the average. Yep.
Yeah, that's the average. So you guys would be the top,
Yeah.
1-10%, wherever you want to classify yourselves in that regard, which is great because we need more like that. Now that leads me to my next little segue in the power sports industry. What do you think about consolidation and with these large organizations like Ride Now? Do you think that's, do you guys see like the end all is like, hey, one day we're going to sell out to a Ride Now, or we're going to try to compete against the big boys? Like, do you guys have a vision?
We're essentially our own competition right now. We're our own 20 group. We, we're very dense in South Florida. We have a store in Miami. Less than 12 miles away is our Hollywood store. Less than 12 miles away is our Fort Lauderdale store. And then our next closest location is Palm Beach, Treasure Coast, Jupiter, West Orlando, Port Richey.
So how many locations do you guys have?
We have 8 now.
8 now, okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
And, the long-term goal, I've talked to our CEO and president about this, and, his long-term goal is his kids are involved, the family's involved in the dealership. He loves what he's doing, and he wants to keep doing what he's doing. He's young. So, and he wants, he wants his kids to come up, and we love it. The kids work with us, and they're great. And, he wants to just continue this path we're on. Let's keep growing. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep doing what we love. They ride jet skis. They ride side by sides. They're in the industry. They enjoy it. So, there is no long-term goal like, oh, let's, consolidate, sell to ride now, or bring in private equity, or go public. It's just, let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep doing a good job at it. Let's make money. Let's have fun. And, we'll see where it takes us.
Well, I love to hear that. That's probably why you guys are doing well, is because you like what you're doing. You're doing pretty good at it, and you have ownership who's still active.
They're active. They're involved. They're there every day.
And was he the president? Was he the original founder of it?
So he purchased Broward Motorsports with two other gentlemen in 2002. Broward Motorsports had been around for I think 20 years or so before that, and they were a much smaller store. They had they grew their location. But when he purchased it, they were going out of business. They were losing franchises. Our CEO, president, and owner is Sam Nemi, and he was at R&R Jet Tech. Ended up leaving that company, found an investor, friend, and him and one other gentleman, purchased Broward Motorsports and created it to what it is today.
And still got the gas to keep on going.
Yeah, he loves it. He's involved all day, every day. I'm getting emails at 5:36 in the morning.
Sell more. Whatever. Okay. So, day-to-day operations of a power sports store. Like, what do you think your responsibilities are? What are your responsibilities as the general manager of a power sports dealership? Like, what do you see?
My overall responsibility is to maintain and grow the dealership. I am big on, customer service, keeping things cleanly, maintaining, great inventory, finding new money. That's my big goal, is bringing new money into the dealership, bring more money into the store, find new, sources of income, marketing the dealership better, anything and everything you could think of. I am involved with every little thing, whether it's picking up trash in the store or, answering a phone for someone calling in for parts, whatever it is.
Yeah, because and you're also a partner too, so how you also have vested interest, sounds like, in the success of the company, so that keeps you super motivated, I'm sure. And yeah, I mean that's what I see most GMs. They're filling up all the gaps, and then they're kind of steering the ship. And I think I don't know you that well, but just based on your experience, I'll bet you're a pretty good leader in the store.
I would like to think so. I hope so.
You think
I definitely suffer from imposter syndrome. Starting at this company, sweeping the floors at 17, and now I oversee a big aspect of the operation, and I'm involved in a lot of the things and changes that we're making every day. It's kind of crazy to think of where I started to where I am today.
Definitely, and I can understand the imposter syndrome. You just kind of because you're just kind of cruising along, and you're like, I'm responsible for this now. Like,
yeah, it's
what?
scary sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that. So you said something, because I like to try to provide some value to the people who are listening and hopefully other dealerships out there. So you said that, what are the levers that you're looking for? You said new revenue centers, bringing money into the store. Like, if you had some advice for other dealers out there, what are some levers they could pull to activate to bring in that income?
I mean, they need to do, you're involved in the industry. You see and hear what's going on. A lot of the complaints right now are people are sitting on too many vehicles. Floor plan interest is getting through the roof.
Yep.
Unmotivated staff, maybe sales are down and stuff, and really focusing on moving that aged inventory, coming up with new incentives for your sales team to get through and push it along. I feel like a lot of stores that I've always worked with, there's a big disconnect between the departments. Service is its own ship, sales is its own ship, parts is its own entity. And in the automotive world, you can do that. The service, parts, and sales departments are not in the same building a lot of the times. For us, it's different. Power sports, it's a different world than automotive. They require, the manufacturers require you to purchase a ton of money in parts. They want you to accessorize the vehicles, whereas, you pull into a BMW dealership, you're not going to see BMW exhaust and BMW this and all these accessories on the cars. They don't promote that. They promote that for us. We have to all work together. And that's what's really going to make your dealership a lot stronger, is just building a community in there and having the best culture. Culture is everything in this business. And like the mustache, like we grew it's a funny thing. Like one of our stores is performing so awesome right now, And I was telling them, like, let's do something that's going to set you guys aside from everyone else. And, like, everyone's having a great time. The culture's awesome. I'm like, why don't you guys all grow mustaches? Like, let's all grow a mustache. We'll do it with you. It'll be fun. It'll be funny. So when people say, like, you guys are killing it, what are you doing different? And we just joke, like, it's the mustache.
So dealers out there, if you're not doing very well right now, grow the stash.
Grow a mustache. It'll help.
It'll help make you more money, sell more vehicles. Which manufacturers in the power sports industry give you the most support, when it comes to moving their units?
Oh man, they're all doing today. I think they've all recognized some of the struggles throughout the dealerships. And I think today that they're all doing a pretty awesome job. There's a ton of rebates out right now across all the brands, primarily Kawasaki, Can-Am, BRP products, and Polaris. I think they are the top three right now with the best incentives, the best rebates, amazing finance terms. They're really leading the pack, and Yamaha is also an amazing brand. They have amazing products. They aren't really heavy on their incentives and rebates. They do a pretty good job with inventory control and supply and demand. People love the Yamaha R1. They love specific models, the R9, and they've fed so few to dealers, contrary to a lot of the other brands, that they don't really have to have the same programs and rebates and stuff that the other dealers have to do, or the other manufacturers have to do, because they have the hype, they have the inventory control. It's supply and demand.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing people come in and be like, hey, I saw that there was an advertisement for X rebate and X incentive? Are you seeing people come and asking for that?
Yeah, there's two different shoppers. There's the educated one who does a lot of research. They search multiple different websites. They look for the best price. They know the incentive. They come in and they're like, hey, I want this vehicle. I know I can get 3.9% for however many months. Or I know it has a $2,000 rebate instead. I'd rather take the $2,000 rebate. I'm going to pay cash for it. I know you guys have it in the color blue. Like, that's the one that I was looking for. And then there's the organic customer that, hasn't done much research. They may have not even visited our website. They just walk in the front door and they're like, hey, I'm looking for a side-by-side today.
What kind of people are those? These people randomly came into some money, or just impulsive people? How would you describe them?
I don't think any of them really came into money. We don't have many of those. It's, most of our consumers make under $100,000 a year.
Okay.
They're men. They're in the age between 25 and 45 years old is the average. And yeah, they're just,
with a need for speed.
Well,
something?
yeah, being outdoors. Their friends have it. They see videos online. Social media plays a big part in it. There's tons of factors.
You said something about living well within your means. You said that was like a value that you had, and it's something that I would imagine you probably were you born with that, or is it something you developed over time?
My parents are very frugal.
Okay.
They're middle class. My father drove a concrete truck his whole life, cut grass on the weekends for extra money, and they're married today. I have amazing parents. They come to my house all the time. We live 3 miles apart.
Nice.
My mom is a nurse, still working today out in the field. She's more on the administrative side today, but they've always, there's a lot of traits and values that they've instilled in me that I still think about today, and I'm glad I didn't listen to all of them, and I'm really happy that I did listen to some of them. They don't overspend, I got my first credit card when I was like 18 or 19 years old, and it had a $500 limit. I couldn't even imagine spending more than $500 on it.
Yeah.
You only spend what you can pay off that month.
Yep.
Save all of your money, and thankfully because of them, I've never been in any poor financial situation. I've never been waiting for my next paycheck to come to pay my bills. So I definitely applaud them for that. But
well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the reason why I brought that up was because thinking about some of the people you sell bikes to,
yeah,
some
of them don't make the best financial decisions.
Yeah.
But I am and I coach my staff. We are not their financial advisors. However people want to spend their money, that is absolutely on them. I'm not going to tell you what color shirt you should wear. I'll try to guide you to what vehicle you should get based on what type of riding and stuff you want to do, if your family or whatever's coming, but we are not financial advisors. So If someone needs 3 co-signers and they want to put this on their credit card and stuff, so be it. That's what you want. You make that decision. We're not here to tell you no.
Yeah.
And we're not the financial institution. You know, we
No.
use the banks. The banks decide if, you know, they want to take the risk on someone or not. And that's it.
That's their decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine, you know, I don't live day to day in the power sports world, but I imagine like you'd kind of talked about the 2 types of buyers, the educated ones and the guys who just kind of walk in and go, you know what, I think I'm ready for a bike. I saw something cool on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, and so I thought maybe that's where you'd got your lesson on living within your means. But
Oh no, it definitely came from my family. As I see today, as you know, my position and my career path has evolved. I've definitely learned a lot from, you know, different consumers and whatnot out there.
So at a power sport dealership, you know, where do you see, I know you kind of said it's kind of spread evenly across, you know, sales, service, finance, and parts, right? As far as income goes, but what percentage of your income would you say from like a power sports dealership point of view should come from each department? You know, like what are some metrics that other dealerships out there should be using as maybe KPIs?
It's hard to say because maybe some dealerships do excellent with parts and service, and you know they don't do as well with front end sales, and it really depends on where you're at in the community, where you're at in what state and what city, what town. So it's really hard to say that, you know, for us, for our dealerships in South Florida, what works best for us, it's probably 65-70% is coming from the front, from sales and finance, and the rest is coming from parts and service. You know, we're really focused on service and parts penetration right now, and I'm hyper focused on growing those 2 departments because our sales and finance does excellent.
Yeah, it's
you know, our margins are excellent. They're dialed in. They're working really fluid and great with each other. They're working great with our other departments, but you know, we could definitely grow our service and parts department. And I'm not saying that they're behind the industry standard because they're not. We have some of the top performing service departments in the industry based on, you know, the metrics that I've seen out there. But I think that we're behind on automotive with what automotive's doing. So if we can gain a lot more traction in our parts and service departments, it's going to make us even stronger than, you know, we've ever been.
Are you using AI at all in your service department?
We're trying. Like I said, it's difficult with power sports because a lot of the systems don't communicate with each other. So everyone's talking about AI. Everyone's talking this and that and AI. I'm optimistic about it. I utilize it. I don't know anyone who's not utilizing ChatGPT, Grok, and Perplexity and whatnot. We definitely do. But it has to be tailored. It's not perfect. It gives out a lot of bad information. You know, one system that we're using right now, Connect, it's for text messaging.
Yep.
And they have tons of
those guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. And right now we're trialing their service AI, and you know, we'll see how this trial period goes and stuff with them.
Yeah, I'd made an appointment at the Audi store here in West Palm Beach.
Okay.
And I called up, press 2 for service or whatever the button was, and immediately answers the phone. It's like, hey, this is, you know, Jenny with Audi. And it was an AI agent, but it sounded really good.
Yes.
Like almost indistinguishable from a real person.
And that's what Connect's doing as well.
Yeah, and I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you know, I have a crack in my windshield, and I have, you know, to get an oil change, I want my tires rotated. She's like, okay, you know, when are you available? I was like, well, I'm not available next Wednesday, but so and so. I could have a conversation with her, and I was like, man, this is freaking good.
It's really good for scheduling appointments, but for a consumer like me, it's terrible for because you know, I'm educated in this field. So, you know, if I'm dropping off my truck or my car or whatever it is, I have questions. Like, hey, I want to get X, Y, and Z done. How much is this? How long are you guys going to take? And AI is not going to answer those questions.
Fair.
What's good, right? And it probably will in the future. You'll have to build it to be able to articulate well with these customers. But right now, it's just really focused on scheduling the client and getting them in the door and trying to take away a lot of that the call volume from the advisors so they can focus on, you know, the rapport that they have with their customers now, you know, calling them regularly and so on and so forth.
I suppose, if you are price conscientious of where you're getting your service done, you know, or what needs to be done, because you might be calling, hey man, I got, you know, the head needs to be replaced on the motorcycle, or you know, something more serious other than an oil change. AI probably won't cut it at this point.
Yeah. It's really, like I said, just to get the client in the door and schedule that appointment, not really take it to the next level yet. I'm sure it'll get there. It's going to take a lot of build out to do it, with pricing and word tracks and things like that. But I'm optimistic for it. I love technology. I love AI. I love where we're going and where it's transitioning to. So,
What about, speaking of competition and AI and all this stuff, but I think more like online sales. What percentage of your sales would you say begin online?
it's minimal.
Minimal, really?
Minimal, almost none. Because with the dealerships, people are still. So it depends. Like I have to reevaluate what I'm saying. Like
Sure.
majority of our sales, 99% of them are the clients walking into the door to purchase a vehicle. Can you buy a power sports vehicle completely online? A customer calls, texts, emails, and says, "Hey, this is what I want. I know do you have it, or I know you have it. What's the out the door price? I'll send you a wire. Here's my information." We send them stuff to DocuSign and call it a day. But we're not at the same level as automotive right now. A lot of our banks require the consumer who's financing a product to be in front of us so that we can confirm their ID and confirm who they actually are.
Yeah.
And until we progress further, most of our deals are just going to be coming in. And even with parts, sales online, service, same thing. The consumer traditionally has to come into our store.
That's interesting. I would have bet it was a lot higher percentage,
For us, it's very low.
which is cool.
I'm not saying that we're not, like right now, it's also one of my hyper focuses is growing our parts department, getting it online. But it's a challenge because you have eBay, you have Amazon, you have all these different companies out there where someone can search a part and their SEO traffic picks it up and directs it directly to these big competitors. The last place it's going to bring them is Broward Motorsports of Hollywood to purchase a roof for the Can-Am that they just bought.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we're working on to try to build our presence online with gaining more traction with sales online. It's just a challenge today. It's something we could have done a lot better at years ago. But now you have the big players that have consumed all the marketing money and all the traffic.
Yeah, that's interesting. Where I was heading with that was, I don't know if you'd seen, but on Amazon, Amazon's going to take over the world.
Yeah, they're trying.
They're going to try, but on Amazon, I think they started earlier this year, end of last year.
Car purchasing.
You can buy car purchases, Hyundai online.
Yep.
Now they just announced like a couple of days ago. Now you can buy Fords online.
It's wild.
100% online. You can go through it, get approved for a loan. They offer you extended warranty products. The whole 9 yards.
I think that's going to be for like very educated people or techie people. Like the average consumer is still going to go into the delership. They still have a lot of questions. They want to test drive the vehicle.
Well, so you deal a lot with the younger crowd, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how old are you? 30s?
35, 36. 36?
Okay. So you're 36, but I'll bet you deal with a lot of the younger generation, right? And they're still just wanting to come into the store? Because my perception is that, we're a similar age.
Yeah.
And like, I think we're still kind of like in between like 100% digital and come in and let's see what you got sort of thing.
So the last 2 vehicles I bought, ironically, in the last year were completely online. I never went to the store, but I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
So, I text the guy at the dealership, do you have this truck? What color do you have? I'll take it. I'll send you a wire.
X packages, yeah.
And it, it depends on the consumer,
Okay. Yeah. Because I figure a power sports item, but I guess all the customizing that you can do at the dealership,
Yeah.
it's not so much a standard issue thing like with Ford. You get the 7015A package and it comes with all the bells and whistles.
Exactly.
Not like that at power sports.
It's, fortunately, there's not a million different wheel brands. There's not a million different tire brands. Most people that come in and purchase a side-by-side or a motorcycle, they are going to accessorize that vehicle. So we are trying to bring a big focus that we're going to do it here at the dealership because they're used to dealerships where you just go buy the car and then you bring, you buy a truck in South Florida and then you bring it to,
a custom shop.
Speed and Truck World or California Custom Sport Trucks. You bring it to the guys and you're like, hey, I want to put a 6-inch lift on it. I want to put tires. I want to put, tint the windows, PPF it. Well, we do all of that in-house, and we're really putting a big focus that, hey, you don't have to bring it anywhere else. You don't have to order the parts online. We'll do it here.
Yeah. Interesting. I like hearing different perspectives.
The
you know?
manufacturers want you to. They tell BRP, as your dealership grows, your parts and whatnot, the stocking orders that they have for you also grow, and they sell amazing products. They sell great roofs and windshields and the whole 9 yards. They force you to spend this money and buy these products so that you can accessorize it with their vehicles, with their products, because they know the consumer is going to go out there and do it anyways.
So you think the manufacturers like, Polaris, Suzuki, Kawasaki, all these big manufacturers, do you think they're making more money off the parts now?
No, no way. They're definitely making
way?
all their money on vehicles.
So the parts are just kind of like, yeah, it keeps the lights on
I don't
maybe
know
a little bit.
what their revenue split is, but
Yeah.
it's definitely on the way higher side of new vehicle sales,
On the vehicle sales, yeah.
not parts and accessories. But if you can capitalize on it, like they do it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, people want it, and
Yeah.
you can make a margin. We already know what your philosophy is on money. Live within your means to a degree.
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun, yeah,
You
enjoy
don't
your
need
life.
to. I mean, I'm not a firm believer of save all of your money, and
Yeah.
of course I'm planning for retirement. I have a financial advisor. I invest a bunch of money, but I have fun. Like I have cool stuff. I love watches and cars, and I love going out to nice restaurants. So if I was a whole lot more frugal, I could probably retire in the next few years, but I have no intention. It's based on what you want to do. I have no intent to retire when I'm 45 or 55. How am I feeling? I don't know how I'm going to be feeling then. I don't know, where my life is going to be then. It's not like I'm living for today. I'm absolutely living for tomorrow. I'm planning for tomorrow, but have fun. My buddy was texting me. One of my best friends was texting me yesterday, sending me a picture of a watch, and I'm like, dude, just do it, just buy it.
Send
You
it.
have the money, go get it.
I definitely believe in enjoying life along the way. I've had
Yeah.
friends already pass away in the 20s.
Oh yeah, tons.
Yeah, I'm
Tons.
sure. I'm sure
Like, it's
too many to count, unfortunately, in your line of work.
Yeah, I mean, some of my closest friends unfortunately passed away over the last 15 years, 20 years, and it definitely, especially now having a kid, like it changes your perspective on life dramatically.
Are you less risky now?
Oh, I'm way less risk adverse. Put me on something with wheels before, I would have tried to wheelie anything. I wanted to go 200 miles an hour all the time. That is absolutely not the case anymore.
Yeah, winding down.
Not much winding down. Like, my focus now is just being like the best dad, and I want to live forever so I can see, what my kids and, what kind of life they're going to live, and just being around them and hanging out with them.
Well, you might have a head start, because I know that stress is one of the big determining factors with longevity.
Yeah.
And the way you handle it. But you see, I don't know you on a day to day, but you look pretty
I
chill
used to
me.
live a very high stress life.
Yeah.
And
What changed?
post having a kid, and I think that's made me actually far less stressed. I'm not, hyper focused on the little stupid things that come up and whatnot during the day. I know, working in the fire department, you learn what a true emergency is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are calling 911 in South Florida not for emergencies.
Yeah.
They're calling for a ride to the hospital. They don't have a means to get to the emergency room. They have a water leak. They have an electrical problem. They lock their keys in their car. So that job in the last 15 years has taught me what an emergency is and what needs to be handled right now. They have this assessment when you're promoting through the ranks. It's called an inbox. And when I'm promoting people through the dealership and I'm, testing them and questioning them, and I give them the inbox scenario, and here's a list of tasks that are in your inbox. You have an employee that's injured. You have a lawsuit that's in front of you. You have a customer yelling in your face. Your cash flow is messed up. P&L has an issue. Accounting wants this right now. Which one is the most important? And you need to learn how to rationalize all these quote unquote emergencies and figure out what needs to be tailored to right now. Tend to the garden that you can touch. Like, you need to figure out what's most important and move on from that. Delegate, learning how to delegate tasks. Like, all of that was taught to me in leadership and books and whatnot through the fire department, and through progressing through that career. and it's really helped translate to what I do in the dealership every day.
So are there any books that you'd recommend that you've read that helped you learn these lessons about
A
mitigating?
lot with like Jocko Willink. That guy is a stud. His books, Navy.
Yeah.
I like to read a lot of books on Navy SEALs, their determination, like what the stress that they have to go through, the lack of sleep, staying up for a couple days, doing all this training and whatnot, doing the hard things, always choosing the harder route. I don't want to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I did not want to wake up at 4:30 this morning, but
Yeah.
I got up at 4:30, and I fought through it. I went to the gym, spent an hour there, like it's do the hard things. And that's what's really helped me.
It makes sense. Yeah, don't choose the path of least resistance.
Never choose the path of least resistance,
Choose the path that gives you more strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever listen to Jim Rohn? Have you learned?
No.
He has a lot of good little one-liners like that.
Okay.
He's like, don't wish for things to be easier. Wish that you were stronger.
Yeah.
Don't wish for things to be cheaper. Wish that you made more money.
Yeah.
And I like that sort of mindset thinking because I feel like it's a lot of you versus you every single day.
It is. Yeah, it's a mental battle. And most of the problems that you're going to suffer are mental battles.
99% of life is a mental battle.
Yeah.
I think, personally. So wrapping this up here and kind of just, I want to give a few more words of advice to other GMs out there. So one thing that is different is that you actually have, partnership in the dealership.
Yeah.
So is that something that you negotiate, or was it something that was offered to you, or how do other GMs out there?
Offered to me, and a lot of so what I've recognized throughout the industry, in automotive and power sports, is a lot of GM's pay plans are structured around how the store is performing. It's not just a salary. They do have skin in the game.
Yeah.
Based on the performance, gross profit, net profit, they get paid on that aside from their salary. So they have skin in the game, and
but ownership or partnership is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody gets that.
It was offered to me, and I didn't see it. I didn't expect it coming by any means. I just treat this place like it's my family, it's my home, and they recognize that and gave me the opportunity. So,
what for guys out there who are wanting to get into the general manager role, what advice do you have for them who want to get to that level?
Stay humble. Be calm. I didn't fight for this role. It was offered to me.
Okay.
Learn as much as you can. I ask tons of questions, and I still do today. I'm always asking questions. I'm always digging for information. So try to absorb and learn as much about the dealership or the operation that you're in as possible. One thing that someone told me recently was, the best trait and skill that you can have, like going up through your career, is being an excellent problem solver. Mm-hmm. So be a problem solver, have the best solution. Do what you say you're going to do. If you say something, if you're like, hey, I'm going to take care of this, well, take care of it. Follow up on it, So, that's big things to me.
And to add to that, not that I'm a general manager, but just one thing that I think that you'd probably need to have as a skill is the ability to think things through to the end. You know what I mean? Like understand, okay, step one is hire somebody. Okay, I feel like some people's thought processes end right there. No, so you got to hire somebody, you got to train them, you got to follow up, then you got to check on them, and then you got to do more training.
Absolutely. You don't, in tech, it's like move fast and break things. Like that's what they kind of live on. And, part of my brain, it operates that way. But when you move up and you're in a higher position, you really have to think of all the other outcomes that can come with it. Like, hey, we want to start this program. We want to hire this person, like you need to do as much research and dig into it as much as possible. Don't just shotgun fire it off onto the wall and pray that it works.
Yeah.
You can't work like that whatsoever.
No, you can't. One last little tidbit here for the dealerships. As you guys know who are listening to this, I work with dealerships all over the country. We help them in the finance department and make more money with extended warranty products and reinsurance. So for a power sports store, I don't know how privy you are to this, but as a GM, I would imagine you would be. How important is, finance and reinsurance?
Extremely important for us.
For you guys,
for our group, yes. So we have a hyper focus on our F&I department. and selling products. And, you can't sell something that you don't believe in. I believe in the products that we sell. Over the years, we have had a multitude of different companies for extended warranty, gap, battery, tire and wheel, prepaid maintenance. And the companies that we're using today, I've worked in service. A lot of my career was in the service department.
Dealing
so,
with them, yeah.
So I know what works. And
Yeah.
I can tell my finance guys, like, listen, sell the product this way. When you're pitching it to the client, you're listening to what their needs are. Pitch these aspects of it because it works. Like if your vehicle breaks, you want to sell this product over this one. And it's a huge focus for us. Finance is massive for us.
So when it comes to, selecting a provider and a partnership to help you out with those products, like what do you guys look for, for other dealerships out there? What should they be looking for when choosing the right provider?
So since I worked in service, I know what you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis with extended warranty companies. Mm-hmm. So I would your big focus is how do they pay you? How fast are they going to pay you when it comes to these claims? Do they have someone that you can call in and speak to? How many people are there on this tech support? What are their limitations? Will they auto approve claims that are under $500? You have to call in for every single one. Is there an online portal? And like I said, the money is the biggest thing. Like how fast are you going to pay us? How are you going to pay us? Is it ACH, credit card, wire?
Yeah.
If we submit a contract that's signed and everything's good and done with, are we going to get paid today, tomorrow, and 2 months from now? So, obviously the biggest thing as an owner, an operator, as a GM is like cash flow. So I want my money.
Yeah.
If the service department puts out tons of money. You're talking tons of money, especially a top performing store with a big service department where you have 10 technicians and 5 advisors and a couple hundred vehicles on the lot. You're putting out millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So you need to get that money back right away. So that's a big focus of ours, like obviously, like, are they going to pay us quickly? How's their consumer service? Like, how big are they? How much revenue do they do? How many contracts have they? Who's underwriting for them? There's so many factors, and you just got to do your research. And for any GM, I would say, work in the service department. If you want to become a GM one day, work in service first, because in service you learn how to put out all the fires. In sales, you learn how to start all the fires.
It does. The fires do begin at the sale.
The sales department creates all the problems that service department needs to fix.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get that taken care of for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a line, dude.
Yeah. I bought this bike and it had this problem and I can't get in touch with the sales guy now. And the service guys are like, oh my God, another one,
Great. Okay. Well, I appreciate that feedback and input, and hopefully you guys are listening because this guy's been out for a very long time. I think he's very knowledgeable, and he seems like one of those like hunter, go-getter killers out there that you'd want on your team. So
I'm not looking for a job.
He's not looking for a job.
So don't call me.
But where can they find you if they wanted to connect with you?
I have no idea what my Instagram handle is, but my name is Anthony Bruno, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
We'll have a link in the bio, and if you guys are watching this somewhere, you'll be able to find all of his contact social medias, that is.
Yeah, if you just look up Bruno Broward Motorsports, I pop up.
There he is.
Been with the company forever, so my name's kind of synonymous with the brand.
He's part of the foundation at this point now. So
yeah, I'm glued in.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you learned something of value today. If you did, share it with somebody that you know or that you like, or maybe somebody that you don't like, and we can fill their ears up with all of our nonsense. But anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.